Move to accept.
Second.
Sorry. So moved. All right. No presentations this morning. Mr. Johnson is the, I jumped ahead. Agenda okay?
Ready for your approval, Mr. Chairman.
Then agenda, we'll move right into the debate. Ms. Proctor, I believe you're up.
Thank you, sir. First one I have for you is an easement encroachment agreement for 126 Autumn Leaf Way. The property owner replaced a storage building in their backyard. The previous one was not considered permanent. However, this new one, they're looking to put electrical to it, so it classifies as a permanent structure, which triggers the requirement for this easement encroachment agreement, and staff is recommending approval.
Move to consent.
Second.
So moved.
Next one I have for you is a purchase of several 3/4 ton service body trucks. Fleet has worked with a couple different suppliers to locate 5 2,500 vehicles for our crews. 2 of these are new for new crews that have been funded this year. 3 of them are replacement vehicles. We did come in under budget by about $60,000 sourcing these, and staff has recommended the purchase.
3, isn't it?
So the ones we're replacing, how old are they?
I don't, Nick, you got that?
I got you. Just when we go through equipment, if you just put, I'm always gonna wanna know how old it is, and I assume we'll surplus but we just going forward, just how old are they? Thank you.
All of these gasoline,
Diesel.
diesel, they're all diesel?
I assume they're gonna be diesel. You got the diesel motion on some of them, didn't you?
Second.
So moved. Gordon, I believe you're up.
Yes, sir. I have 2 items for you this morning. The first item is we have about $119,000 left in our budget for our laydown yard that was approved. And we want to spend some of that. We've built some buildings out there, but we want to go in and put some concrete slabs so we can build some vertical storage in them and use that. And we've gone out and gotten 3 quotes. We're going to manage the project ourselves, but we've gotten a quote for someone to finish it. The low quote on that was Blair for $29,000. And we've gotten 3 quotes from concrete suppliers, and the low quote on that was SRM Concrete for $55,000. So a total of $84,000 for us to finish off a floor in our laydown yard for storing materials. And staff recommends approval of this purchase.
Lay down yard behind the recycling center.
Yes, sir.
Move to consent.
Second.
So moved.
The next item I have is we currently have 3 existing stormwater ponds on site at the water utility, and the ponds are getting older. We're having issues with maintenance, and the outfalls clogging up. We're taking on more water than was initially designed for these ponds, so we want to repair the ponds for easier maintenance and build 1 large pond so we can maintain it instead of the 3. And so we've had a design by Blue Water and a bid out, and we bid the project, and the low bid was for Blair Construction for $365,776. Staff recommends approval of these improvements.
Had a issue, neighbor across the street, flooding property. Has that been corrected and this won't create any issues?
That's part of the additional water we've taken. We got with stormwater, and they improved the ditch line and ran the pipe down, and they came to our ponds to keep from flooding them.
Move to consent.
Second.
So moved. Titus, I believe you're up.
Sir, good morning.
Good morning.
The first item we have is an intergovernmental agreement with the City of Grovetown for the ownership and maintenance of Harlem Grovetown Road or portions thereof. recent developments in this area along Harlem Grovetown Road have caused the county to look with the city of Grovetown on who owns this portion, because there are portions of the road that are portions on each side of the right-of-way that are owned by or in city limits, and there are portions that are in the unincorporated part of the county. And it's kind of, it's not very contiguous. It's off and on. So we worked with the county attorney. We reviewed state law, which ended up being a little ambiguous. So we felt it needed to draft and develop this intergovernmental agreement with the city of Grovetown. Both the city and the county attorney have reviewed the language and they agree to it, along with county management. This IGA basically designates the portion of Harlem Grovetown Road from Old Brazilia Road west about 1.85 miles to just beyond Carrollton as the city of Grovetown's road to own and maintain. The IGA also says that if any portions of any areas are annexed or de-annexed that abut Harlem Grovetown Road, then the ownership will be reflective of those de-annexations or annexations. Staff recommends approval. And for the record, this was taken to the City Council, Grovetown City Council on July 10th, and they have approved.
Just really to provide some consistency because it was going in and out.
Correct.
County, city, county.
Who's been maintaining now? Some of it been missed or?
I think the city's maintains it for the most part, but there has been questions on where that limit of maintenance ends.
Second.
So moved.
The next item is for purchases with Utilicom, 360 Network Solutions, Temple, and Rhythm for traffic signal equipment at various locations. There's about $360,000 left in the GO bond, 2017 GO bond for transportation. With the GO bond, either all or nothing. You have to spend it all for that project, or you can't piecemeal projects. We don't really have a great project to apply this to, so we got with traffic, realized that there's several pieces of equipment that they could purchase in order to upgrade our system to where it needs to be. There's several things. Processors that are running on old software, AI modules that are part of a 3-year development rollout, stuff like that. So we like to make the purchase of all of this equipment one time to bring everything up to date. It's 19 Axis quad view cameras, 13 Rhythm processors, 16 AI modules, 2 RFBs. The total price would be $360,630.69. And if approved, staff will start purchasing and installing these internally over the course of the next 6 months. Staff recommends approval.
I understand that this gets our whole system up
For a minute.
for the minute. Changes pretty quick, right?
It does. It does. It does. But it does bring us up to date. Yes, sir.
This for replacing, or are we adding new locations?
This is for, so the 19 quad view cameras are replacing our current PTZ cameras. These are, instead of just having a single camera that we can operate to look around the intersection, this is actually a camera that has 4 cameras that looks in all directions, and then also has a PTZ at the bottom. So it helps us see the intersection in real time all the time. Not just traffic, but also the sheriff's department really likes this as well, because they can see all the accidents in all the directions. Whereas now, if the PTZ is not pointed at it, it'll miss the accident. The AI modules are, again, are needed. They're not, and the AI modules were part of a 3-year rollout, and we have about 2/3 of those installed. We need to get the remainder of those installed. And the RFBs are rectangular rapid flashing beacons, like the crosswalk flashers. They're to put in the shop, so as these come up, we have some on hand, because there's a lead time on getting them.
Move to consent.
Second.
So moved.
Second with a question. Where do we stand with the sheriff's cameras that talked about, the readers? Yeah?
The construction is taking place for those right now. So you'll see people, or our the contractor is working with our vendor, outplacing the bases for those. Process will take place over the next 2 months. And really the next 2 to 3 months.
We already have the cameras.
No, the cameras have not been ordered yet, because as soon as we take delivery on the cameras is when their starts out. But so cameras will be placed, or rather they'll be ordered within the next, they'll be here when we're ready to mount them on the poles.
Good work.
Move to consent.
The next item we have is an independent contractor agreement with Keckenwood for signal timing services for the Lewiston Road Diverging Diamond Interchange. So typically for signal timing, we would do this in-house. It's not a terribly complicated process. However, with the Diverging Diamond Interchange, instead of having 8 phases with the signal timing, it's a 12-phase system. So staff is not familiar with doing signal timing for Diverging Diamonds, so we would like to bring on Keckenwood to help us through this process the first time, so we can learn it, we can make sure that we get it right before we roll it out. The agreement's for $12,000. We asked the contractor working on the job for a quote to do this, and their quote was around $30,000. So we definitely think that this is a fair price by Keckenwood. It would be TIF funded with the project. Staff recommends approval.
Give us an update on where we are with the overall timeline for the Diverging Diamond.
Sure. So the Lewiston Road project, or the contract, the original contract would be at the end of this year. When it ends, you add in weather delays, and it's going to be closer to early to mid next year before we get done with the project. We're pushing them to start on the bridge work in the Diverging Diamond now, but it's really a function of their means and methods. As long as they're within their contract, they can do it when they want.
And how long was that contract? Because I read social media post your project, which I don't think was correct at all. Kind of address
Mr.
that.
Slaughter, do you remember how long that contract is? I want to say it was 1,000 days.
1,000 days, roughly, so 3 years. You know, keep in mind, the first year of it is private utilities being relocated, or we really can't do anything while we're waiting on Georgia Power and AT&T and Comcast and WOW and Nology and Atlanta Gas Light. They all have to get out of our way before we can start building, and we can't build for them. We have to depend on them.
That goes against the total
Right.
It does.
contract.
Contractor goes in and clears the land to make room for those utilities. They then come in and start moving. Our contractor actually went in there and worked where he could. He kind of jumped around, moving dirt where he could to keep the schedule moving forward. But until those utilities are out of the way, there's not a whole lot we can do work-wise.
Have zero say on,
Remember, we had Stan Shepard in here, and I tried to negotiate the approval of the vote for his cell tower thing, make them move more quickly.
didn't get much
Didn't work,
result
yeah.
from what I remember though. Just wanted a little bit of.
They're still in line with their schedule.
And
Got it in the
I thought so
ways.
also.
I can get you hard numbers on that.
Thank you.
Move to consent.
Second.
So move.
This next item is a contract with the Georgia Environmental Protection Division, or EPD, for a 319 non-point source pollution grant at Lakeside Park. Staff has identified some bioretention ponds that are in need of maintenance. We worked with a firm in identifying a grant that we could apply for to help fund the maintenance and the rehabilitation of these ponds. In addition, we're looking at retrofitting 3 ponds, but we're adding a new bioretention structure in the parking lot that connects to these ponds, in addition to a permeable paver trail system in and around these parks that tie to the Lakeside Park Trail as well, and adding a public outreach, kind of like signs and stuff explaining what these ponds are and how they work and how the green infrastructure works and whatnot. The grant total is $620,881. The county match is $248,381, which we can apply staff time and volunteer time towards our match. Those numbers are listed. The funds will be split over the course of 3 years, starting this fall. Staff recommends approval of the contract.
Lakeside Park, relatively new.
It is a new park. One of the ponds in Lakeside Park was an existing pond that we actually ended up buying from a neighborhood in order to make our park work. So one of the ponds is old. Some of the newer stuff it met the standards then. However, they're looking to upgrade it to meet our new green infrastructure, low impact development standards. So kind of a combination of both, fixing old ponds and upgrade new ponds.
These green infrastructure ponds have like filter media in it that has to be replaced periodically. It's dirty, not cleaned and maintained properly, replaced.
Time I see the words federally funded, it makes me flinch because I really don't want federal money to earn any strings attached to this.
Other than our match, our funding match,
Yeah.
not required to anything outside the ordinary.
They want you to cut the grass.
Cutting grass.
Staff's actually engaged Lakeside High School, and they have programs that can relate, environmental type programs that can relate to this. So they're students working on developing this public outreach, working with us to develop this public outreach and lay out the trail and stuff. That time can be applied toward the grant.
Move to consent.
Second.
So moved.
This next item is two contracts with Goodwin Mills and Kaywood for select activities associated with the same grant, the 319 9-point source pollution grant at Lakeside Park. The two contracts, one is in the amount of $18,000 for administration and reporting. Staff hasn't worked with EPD on a 319 grant. There are specific reporting requirements that have to be met throughout the course of the project over the next 3 years, along with several activities. There are 21 activities total that have to be performed. 5 of those staff is not familiar with, and GMC provided a contract to perform those items in the amount of $23,950. Those are listed. Total amount being requested for the two contracts is $41,950. This also can be applied as part of our match. Staff recommends approval for the two contracts.
So moved.
The next item is change order 1 with ER Snell for TIA 2 Group 2 resurfacing. When we first prepared the bid package to let this project, we pulled some roads out because bid prices were coming in so high. There's only so much available funding through the T office each quarter. So we pulled some roads out to try to hit what we thought the available funding was. The contract bid under budget, so we reached out to the low bidder, Snell, and asked if we added these projects back in, if they would hold their unit prices, and they agreed to. We ran this by the T office. They agreed to the methodology. The only change would be an additional 30 days on the contract, and the amount for the 3 roads would be $593,685.90, and this includes adding Park West Drive, Old Wheeler Road, and CD Industrial to the existing TIA 2 Group 2 resurfacing contract. Staff recommends approval.
The only ones that have been, are we still on the TIA 2 list of roads? I mean, have others been pulled out that we're unaware of?
None have been removed.
They're all still in.
They're all still in. None were removed. We just pulled them out of the bid package that we sent out, but they never left the TIA project.
Very good, thank you. Move to consent.
Second.
So moved.
This next item is Resolution 2345 and a project delivery agreement with GDOT for the Clanton Road improvements. Mr. Schlottner and I went to Tennell on August 2nd and worked with the Citizens Review Panel on having the Clanton Road project move from the Tier 3 to Tier 1 TIA. That was successful, so the Clanton Road is now in Tier 1, and this project delivery agreement is to allow Columbia County to deliver the project. It also requires a resolution naming the chairman, The Board and County Clerk is authorized individuals to act on behalf of the Board of Commissioners. Staff recommends adopting the resolution and approving the PDA.
I want to thank y'all for the work y'all did by going down and getting this. I think this will be a tremendous impact on traffic. Washington Road. Much needed. Up is the, thank y'all for that.
Sir.
Move to consent.
Second.
So move.
And the final item we have is an independent contract agreement with the development company for abatement and demolition parcels 15, parcels 15, 59, and 61 for the Harvey McManus Road widening project. Following the acquisition of these parcels, the structures or the homes on these parcels have to be demolished in order for the county staff to certify the right-of-way and move this project forward. The total contract amount is $122,538 for them to go in and do an asbestos testing and abatement and demolishing all 3 houses. Staff recommends approval.
I think item last meeting where we extended time for one of these.
Yes, sir. So we own all 3 of these parcels. There was an agreement that was had with one of the property owners to stay in the house for 90 days prior to leaving, and that was brought back before the board for approval.
My point there was properties are starting to look, I know it may be a length of time before we can look presentable because own it and we want everybody else to maintain boards and waist high. I don't think that's a good look.
Sir?
But can we allow the fire department to practice?
Which we could. It wouldn't burn them down. We could let the sheriff's office go in there and practice, but
Shoot live rounds into the wall?
no, sir. No, sir. They just practice breaching houses, searching houses, unknown area. But to burn a house, it takes a lot of permitting, to actually set fire to a house and burn it.
I thought it'd just take a match.
Commissioner Malier, that is on District 1 side, so if your lawnmower is available, you might want.
I bet you will.
Move to consent.
Second. Sorry.
So move. I do have a question right here. There was another agenda item that we were talking back and forth when we were meeting the other day, and there was a question whether it was ready for agenda or not. Discussion to take it off, then I think discussion put it back on, but it looks like it's not here. Can that still be ready to move forward to
Yes, sir.
full board?
Yes, sir. So, Mr. Titus sent it to me yesterday morning. I reviewed it, found one error that I think we need to correct, so Mr. Titus got that adjusted. We just didn't have time to get it to the clerk to have it on this agenda, but our plan is to bring it straight to the full board
Okay.
for consideration. This is our street lighting policy. So, we've had lots of conversations, lots of meetings. I think we're on our 13th draft, 11th?
We're on the 11th.
11th draft, so we've been through this thing many times. So, the next commission meeting, we're gonna bring that to you as a debate item for everybody to consider.
Well, it's just a time crunch item, so
Needs to be approved prior to October 1.
that's why I wanted right time frame. So, okay, thank you. Stafford?
Yes, sir. I've included a year-to-date budget report and the water and sewer construction project reports, and I'm prepared to answer any questions you may have.
B is still December 15th.
Yes, sir. We have,
The conservative time, it's gonna happen before then, right?
we believe so. Yes, sir. We've started up Clarks Hill. So Clarks Hill, it is running now. It is working. We've sent off samples to be tested. System works great. We still have a little bit of programming issues that are causing our operators to work a little extra, do some things in manual that we need to get ironed out, but the system is working fine.
Question? Any commissioners or public comment? Mr. Helms, Halsted here today? I just had a conversation, and I thought he might want to speak, so I wanted to make sure he had the opportunity. Have a couple of executive session items. What's your pleasure?
Full board.
Second.
We are adjourned at 9:16.